All right, it's me and Teal'c over here, and we're gonna react to why can't we build homes like we used to. If you're into this kind of stuff, architecture and design, I hope you like it. Let's check it out.
Take a walk through any historic neighborhood dotted with Gilded Age mansions or charming Victorian era homes, and you'll notice something striking. These buildings have an undeniable presence. They exude character, craftsmanship, and a level of detail that feels almost otherworldly in today's sea of cookie cutter building.
I think that looks like a house from Donnie Darko, if I'm remembering correctly.
It begs the question, why can't we build homes like we used to? To answer this question, we need to look at not just how homes were built, but why they were built the way they were, and how cultural, economic, and technological changes have reshaped the
Exotic.
landscape of home construction. Hi everyone, Ken here. Welcome to this house. Victorian era homes and Gilded Age mansions weren't just buildings, they were statements. These homes were born in an era when craftsmanship reigned supreme and a house was more than a place to live. It was
It was a place to die and to haunt, apparently.
an expression of personal identity, social status, and even artistic ambition. For example, during the Victorian era, architectural styles were heavily influenced by the Gothic Revival, Queen Anne, and Second Empire movements.
All right, check this out. Could you imagine the window cleaning bill of a place like this? Back in those days, they had servants, they had people who took care of stuff, but to be totally honest, it looks like there's a giant sword coming down in the middle of one of those windows. What's the sword oil bill on that one?
Each characterized by ornate detailing, asymmetry, and layered textures. Homes feature turrets, bay windows, intricate woodwork, and stained
That's
glass,
dope.
design elements that were not merely aesthetic, but also symbolic of an era that valued uniqueness and human touch. Similarly, the Gilded Age saw the rise of grandiose mansions that borrowed inspiration from European palaces. These homes boasted marble staircases, hand carved
That's Liberace's mansion, 100%. That's either some cocaine drug lord or like a gay musician. That's the only people who would have a ceiling that ornate.
moldings, and expansive ballrooms. Every detail, from the placement of a chandelier to the choice of floor tiles, was meticulously thought out. Fast forward to today, and homes have become far more practical, but arguably less soulful.
Each
Modern
one of those is
construction
probably a
emphasizes
half a million
efficiency,
dollars.
affordability, and functionality. Open floor plans, energy efficient materials, and streamlined designs dominate the market. While
What do you guys think about open floor plans? Put it in the comments if you're down with it or against it. Personally, I'm against it. I like defined spaces. I really wish that we could go back to a time where homes were built with more focus on people being able to be in a private space. Um, I watched a video, I'm probably going to react to it, about the psychology of open floor plans and how modern design is actually unhealthy for our mental wellness. So put it in the comments if you like an open concept or not.
there's nothing inherently wrong with these priorities, they often come at the expense of the rich detailing and individuality that characterized older homes. One of the biggest shifts has been the transition from artisanal craftsmanship to mass production. In the Victorian era, homes were often built by teams of skilled craftspeople who poured countless hours in hand carving a single newel post or crafting custom built cabinetry. Today, these tasks are outsourced to machines or eliminated
China.
altogether to save on labor cost. The result, homes that lack the intricate charm of their predecessors. In
All right, check out this home right here. This is a perfect example of too much open concept. The ceilings are really high, and to a certain point, high ceilings are good, but they're also, I don't know, it's just like echoey, right? If you've been in a house that's too echoey, you clap and it just keeps going, it rings out. Um, I just watched another video too about the Susie Homemaker kitchen with these bar stools over here, this eat in island thing. They say that the psychology of it kind of makes the woman of the house the slave to the children, just like a soup kitchen setup. So I don't like it. Um, and obviously, you know, people are thinking all about money these days, not about design.
let's not ignore the elephant in the
Ooh.
room money. Building a Victorian style home today, with all its architectural flourishes, would be astronomically expensive. The labor cost alone would be prohibitive, let alone the price of high quality
Purple.
materials.
Darn.
In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, labor was relatively inexpensive, and the materials used, like solid wood and natural stone, were more readily available.
Labor was relatively inexpensive. And then today, with inflation, if anybody was to do the math on it, with how crap our economy is, it's probably still very cheap for labor. I'm going to be honest. It's like if people are getting paid $30+ an hour as a laborer and then they still can't afford to live, inflation is way worse than we think. Those people are getting paid like $1 a day and they were just like buying houses, building their own houses, and sending kids off to private schools. Nah, not all of them. But look at those logs.
Today, builders often opt for cost effective alternatives like vinyl siding, engineered wood, and synthetic materials. While these substitutes can mimic the look of traditional materials, they often lack the same longevity and depth. Additionally, modern homes are built to fit strict budgets and timelines, leaving little room for the bespoke touches that defined older architecture. Another key factor is our shifting cultural preferences. In the Victorian era, homes were designed to accommodate formal entertaining, with separate spaces for dining, sitting, and receiving guests. Privacy and formality were paramount, which is why these homes often featured multiple small rooms rather than large open spaces. Today, the way we live has changed dramatically. Families now prefer open concept designs that allow for easy flow between the kitchen, living, and dining areas.
I'm going to say that's BS. I don't think that people these days in today's modern consumer society prefer open concept. I think they were sold open concept as the only option because of the cost to build. uh, when's the last time you've seen a new construction home with clearly defined spaces and a living room and a kitchen with full separation? Have you seen that anytime recently? Let me know. In new construction, I'm a building inspector for new construction, new residential construction in Colorado. People don't build like that anymore. They just don't. It's always a loft open to the downstairs or a kitchen that spills right out into the living room. I have not seen a den or a parlor set up in anything that I've inspected in the last year. And before that, I've worked in maintenance and repair and construction, as just hired hand. It's just not out there. It's not that people prefer it, it's all that's being sold. That's my opinion.
Practicality usually wins out over ornamentation. People are more interested in energy efficient windows and smart home technology than stained glass or carved cornices. Another reason we don't build homes like we used to is that we've lost much of the architectural literacy that once informed home design. In the past, architects and builders were deeply influenced by classical principles of proportion, symmetry, and ornamentation. These concepts were taught as part of a well rounded education, even to those who weren't directly involved in construction. To
Did you hear that? Dimensions, proportion, and those aspects of design were taught to people who weren't even in the construction field. That's bananas. Today, we're too busy teaching 5-year olds about politics that they're not even going to care about when they're older, or that are just absolute BS, rather than getting them to understand how to build a house or how to make things look nice, or how to pick up after yourself. The Japanese still do that, but not in the States. So yeah, that's crazy. We have lost a lot in education.
architecture has largely moved away from these traditions in favor of modernist ideals that emphasize simplicity and functionality. While this shift has produced many innovative designs, it has also led to a disconnect from the rich visual language of the past.
Name that house. Who's the designer of that house? I'll give you 3 seconds. Frank Lloyd Wright. It's one of the Frank Lloyd Wright design houses. Uh, Very influential architect. I can't remember exactly when he lived, but I lived in Arizona for a handful of years. His architectural design is all over that place. You look at like the Hotel Valley Ho in Scottsdale, Arizona. Really good example of influence he had in design in the area. There's a lot more, but that's just one that comes to mind.
So, is it actually possible to build homes like we used to? In short,
TP.
yes, but with some caveats. A growing number of architects and builders specialize in traditional designs, creating new homes that mimic the aesthetics of older styles while incorporating modern conveniences. However, these homes come at a premium and are often out of reach for the average homeowner. For those of us who can't afford to build from scratch, restoration and preservation offer another path. Historic homes can be lovingly restored to their former glory, keeping the spirit of the past alive for future generations. Perhaps the real challenge isn't to replicate the past, but to learn from it. We may never return to an era where every home is a work of art.
He already said what I'm going to say. That is a work of art. Look at that beautiful freaking house. Wouldn't you love to be able to like climb up in that turret anytime somebody knocks on your door and just yell down at them, "Who is it?" You know, just be ridiculous, because that's a ridiculous looking house for the day and time that we live in. But it's probably made out of stone and concrete. It's probably more fire resistant than a lot of the stuff that you see today, even with modern code and practices. And I say this a lot: every family needs a home, but every home needs a family. And it's because I'm not Shinto Japanese or anything, but I do believe that people build things and it has kind of a aura or a spirit or an existence of its own that's not just brick and mortar. And every family needs a home, but every home needs a family. If we built houses that had more soul in their design, somebody put more care and craft into it, maybe the outcomes of the people living in those houses would be different. But that's a little bit woo woo. Let's get back to the video.
We can strive to incorporate more beauty and craftsmanship into modern design. By blending the best of both worlds, the efficiency of today with the artistry of yesterday, we can create homes that are not only functional, but also inspiring. So while we might lament the loss of intricate woodwork in grand parlors, the story isn't over.
Woodwork.
With a little creativity and a lot of heart, we can continue to build homes that reflect not just where we live, but who we are. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the subject matter down below in the comments section, and while you're there, make sure you're subscribed.
Alright, this video was by a channel called This House. A very cool video. Definitely go check out more of their videos, and let me know in the comments about old houses, what you think about open concepts, and basically where you would see yourself if you could build your own dream home. I know that design and beauty in architecture is lost these days because we think like modern people, and that's a sad thing, is we are consumers of what is offered to us. And I think if we lived in a time and we lived in an economy where these things were still possible and more financially feasible, we would choose them still. So don't believe what these people are saying, that people prefer a certain thing. No, we prefer things based on what's available because we're practical creatures. All right, have a good night.